everybody, Stephanie Phillips here, Political Director of Veterans in Politics. I know this is different. This is my first live for Veterans in Politics. Steve is the one that's usually on this side of the camera, but he's on the other side today. And we're down here at the Clark County Family Services building. And I just wanted to tell you a couple of things that I discovered when I called DWSS last week and also DCFS. And I just wonder if they're being transparent with the public, because they weren't transparent with me. And that's not how you protect the public. You have to be transparent. You have to be accountable to the taxpayer. So a little bit of background. You know, we had Jasmine Rojas on our show 2 or 3 months ago, and she told her story. She's got 2 little girls. One is 7 months. The other one is 3 years old. And CPS has taken her children. And it's a big, long story, and I can't go into the whole thing, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things. The lady who has her 2 children is called a victim kin. She is not a family member, but she is friends with this family and has been for a really long time. In fact, she has lived with Jasmine's family. She lived with them for 18 years. Part when she was a child and part when she as an adult. So she's been like a sister to Jasmine growing up, and she is the one who is watching Jasmine's children right now. So during this whole case, it's come to my attention that I was told a complaint has been filed against this lady who is caring for Jasmine's children. Her name is Andrea. And she's been advertising on social media that she has a daycare called Snuggle and Sprouts. So I've seen these posts. They've been posted since January, March, April. And I thought I would call and find out what the status of that complaint is. So I called DWSS and I said, is this daycare licensed? Because the complaint was suspicion of this daycare being unlicensed. So I called and I gave them the name of the daycare, I gave them Andrea's name, and I gave them the address where this daycare is located. And they could not pull any of those. They could not find that it was licensed at all. And so I referenced that there was a complaint filed at the beginning of May, somewhere in there. And so she transferred me to another lady, and her name was Tanya, and I spoke with her. She was very pleasant. And this is with DWSS, and I asked about the status of this complaint. And they couldn't give me any information. I asked the date it was filed. I asked who filed it. I asked, has anyone been out to this daycare? Have they determined that it's, running unlicensed or not? And she couldn't tell me anything. She just said there's an active investigation. We don't give out that information. And she transferred me to her supervisor. Her name was Connie. Very pleasant, very nice, and I talked to her even longer. And I said, if you guys can't tell me any information, and I'm a mom with small children, and I'm investigating a daycare of where I may place my children, but yet I call you guys to see if it's licensed, you tell me it's not, and then you know that there is an open investigation and an active investigation. And I said, would you tell me that? And she said, no, we don't disclose that. So I had prior knowledge that this complaint has been filed. But had I not known that, and I was just, mom calling up to find out about licensing and all this, they never would have told me that this daycare was under investigation. Now, I think that's terrible, because if they're aware that this is under investigation, maybe it should be telling the public. So what I also found out is that you can be an unlicensed daycare if you have 4 children. You can only have 4 children beyond your own children. So she has 3 children of her own. She has Jasmine's 2 children, and who knows how many additional children that she's watching at this daycare. But according to the statute, apparently you can only have up to 4. But there's all kinds of rules with that. How old are the children that are in the home? these advertisements that I have seen on Facebook say they welcome drop-ins. So how does the state know that she doesn't have 5, 6, 8, 10 drop-ins? How do they know how many kids are at this location at any given time? And what do they do in their investigation? Do they send out somebody to watch how many kids come into this home? How many times do they go out? And the supervisor also told me that the only time they actually make a report public and their findings public is if that complaint is substantiated. That goes onto their website if the complaint is substantiated. If it's not, then you never know the results. You never know what they do. And I also asked the supervisor, are you guys backlogged on complaints? She said no. So if this was filed towards the first part of May, and there's no backlog, we're towards the end of June, how come there's no findings as of yet? But I found it very disturbing, the lack of transparency. All they could tell me is that it was an open investigation, and they can't tell you anything more. That doesn't protect the public, not in my opinion. So also on this Facebook post, on this advertising for this daycare, Andrea claims to be a licensed foster mom, and it's in the post. So I called DCFS and I asked, where on the website can I look up a licensed foster parent? There's no ability to look up a license for a foster parent. It's not on the website. They don't give you that information when you call. That also is hidden from the public. So anybody could advertise, I'm a licensed foster mom, I'm a licensed foster parent. But there's no way to check that with the state of Nevada, with this agency, because they don't give out that information. And she said, if you want to file a complaint over the phone, you can do that, and then maybe we can get that information to you. So I did. I spoke to Emma, I believe her name was, very nice, took the information over the phone, and I said, well, if this will let me know whether she has a license or not, then let's do that. So I gave her the information that I knew. So we'll see if anything comes of that. I've not heard back from either agency. And the other thing that was interesting, when I was on the phone with DWSS, I said, is CPS aware of this complaint about this particular person running a suspected unlicensed daycare? Because this person is a placement and is watching these two kids that are in CPS's care. So I would think they would want to be interested, or they would want to know about this particular complaint. And the lady at DWSS told me CPS is not involved on this particular case. So I found that interesting. But I just wanted the public to know I was actually surprised when I found out this information, the lack of transparency, and them not telling you anything. I think to protect the public when people are trying to find out about a potential daycare, people claiming to be licensed foster parents, I believe there should be checks and balances. Our state of Nevada agencies that are taxpayer funded as well, they do get money from federal grants, but they also get state grants, and that comes from our taxpayer dollars. We should be told and be made aware of these things. These should be public. They should not be hidden from the public. So anyway, I just wanted you guys to know that, and I appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll see you on Wednesday for our show.